Good morning. Welcome to Randy's Corner, and I'm your host, Randy Clark. And I got my very special guest here this morning, my most favorite person in Sylacauga, Alabama, Dr. Ted Spears. Good morning, Dr. Ted.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Well, it's that time of year, Marble Festival 2025.
Absolutely.
My favorite time of year.
It is my favorite time of the year. Whether I want to or not, now we're right in the middle
That's right.
of preparation and everything is running smoothly. And I appreciate you having me on the program so we can let the public know what we're doing.
That's right. Well, we want all the viewers to know because my estimate, we usually have 3,000 to 4,000 visitors come through Sylacauga during these 11 days.
That's right. And, you know, the publicity that we're getting now and the kind of traffic with people with different clubs in the cities come in busloads, so it's getting bigger and bigger every year.
Bigger and bigger every year. So, Dr. Ted, before we get started talking about this year's Marble Festival, could we go all the way back to the beginnings? Because I've had several people to ask me, how and when did the Marble Festival start? So, if you could tell the viewers where the idea came from and up till now.
Well, if you go back to 2009, one Sunday afternoon I was watching a football game and the phone rang and it was Al Head, who is director, at that time was the director of the State Arts Council.
Okay.
He said, we just returned from a trip, a cultural exchange trip, where we carried a number of musicians and writers and artists and people to Pietrasanta, and they're going to have some people that will come here. And he said, well, we carried the governor and also the head of the tourism department with us. And he said, while we were at the Carrara Mines, and the Carrara Mines is where Michelangelo did all of his carving and the statue of David and that beautiful white marble. And he said, we'd had a pretty busy day, and Bob Riley, who was with us, the governor, walked up to me and he said, I can't believe you dragged me all the way across the ocean just to show me some white marble. He said, 30 miles from where I was born and raised in Ashland, down in Sylacauga, they've got marble that's much prettier than this, that's much whiter than this. Why don't you call them and see if they won't get involved in this cultural exchange? And so at that time, the only reason they called me is I was president of the Arts Council. And so they had my phone number. And they wanted to know if we would be interested. And I said, well, I'll certainly check into it. It sounds good to me. So Sam Wright was the mayor at that time. I went and talked to Sam. I went and talked to 3 or 4 of the businessmen in town. And we met in Sam's office, and I had Al Head to come up and talk to him and tell him what we were doing. We had representatives from the quarry, from Sylacauga Quarry, from Amias and Emery's, who showed up, and they bought into it. And so that kicked it off. And on the first one in 2009, the mayor of Pietrasanta and his entire staff, along with the museum staff, came, and he brought with him one of the more famous opera singers in all of Europe and her entourage, and he also brought a ballet group from Pietrasanta, and then he brought 8 sculptors and was spreading them around over Alabama, some in Birmingham, some in Montgomery, some in Mobile, and some in Sylacauga. And the lady that head of that, Georgine Clark, I may be related to you, but Georgine was the director of that particular project, and she spent a great deal of time, and we kicked it off. And the first Marble Festival, we had 8 sculptors all from Italy, and we had the ballet group, and we had the opera singer, and we had a whole contingent of people from Montgomery and the State Arts Council who came, and we signed an agreement. We had a reception for them down at the rec center, and the mayor of Pietrasanta and Mayor Wright signed not a sister city agreement, but a friendship pact where they would furnish people for us, and we would have put them on our cultural exchange also. And then from that, we sent the mayor and Connie to Pietrasanta to represent us, and we looked at the music aspect. We looked at all of them, but I convinced them that, hey, everybody has music and everybody has dancers, but only Sylacauga's got the beautiful white marble like they got at the Carrara mines. So the people from the quarry brought into it, and we started doing that, and they send us, as you well know, a sculptor, a master sculptor or a sculptress. And so here we are since 2009, every year, except the COVID year. So and even in that COVID year, we commissioned a bust of Moretti and one of Mercer, his apprentice, who was an Alabama girl. And this is the first time a lot of people realize that Moretti owned one of the quarries here, the one that's Emer's now. And as a matter of fact, he owned it a couple of times. And the second time with Harrah, who is a New York banker, they bought it. And so we thought it was important that we remember them. And so we've got the bust in the library. But one of the agreements that we had is that the piece that the master sculptor would sculpt would automatically go to the B.B. Como Library. Of course, that was because my wife was doing a lot of the work, and she was the librarian at that time. And so we now do it, and that's when we was talking to Tracy just a few days ago. We got over 50 pieces, very quality pieces, and I doubt if there's a library anywhere that's close to that. And I don't know of many sculpting venues that would be any better than what we have in Sylacauga.
Right.
And that brings a great deal of attention to Sylacauga. And we revived the name of the Marble City.
Yes.
And so here we are today. And well, that was the beginning and how we got to this point. And it's been every year. And I know that my daughter Tara and her husband Jonathan has made 2 visits to Pietrasanta and to meet with Valentina Foger, who is the woman, our contact there. And she's the one that furnishes us our sculptors. And that process, and I guess I can add this at this time, when they get ready for the sculptors, they go on the local television and local newspapers and ask for people to apply, sculptors to apply, and for a 2-week trip to Sylacauga, Alabama. And so they have a competition thing, and then they have a committee that chooses a person, and then they call me and say, hey, we've got you somebody squared away. And this year we have a guy named Eddie Carra. It's Edicarrer, but I don't know how it'll be announced in Italian when he gets here. But he's one of the people that they chosen. He's been carving there in Pietrasanta for a number of years and thought he'd like to come to Sylacauga. So I turned all that over to Tara, and she and Priscilla are working on with Blue Horizons. And they've got the ticket bought, and the people are on their way if we don't get in this mess up that's going around with admitting people to the United States. But I've been in contact with the current director, and he was writing a letter for Mrs. Carra to hand to and show the people. He's going to only be here 2 weeks. They've been coming here for 17, 18 years. And that'll help clear him up.
Right.
But it's an exciting time for a man to be coming from Italy to the United States with all the
Right.
political furor that's going on.
And I'm sure word gets around up there that, hey, you need to go to Sylacauga because we welcome them with open arms, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We, you know, we didn't know what we were doing along the way. We just used our good old Southern hospitality and good Alabama friendship. And Sylacauga is a wonderful place to visit. We got quite a history. We got an opportunity to tell the people what we have since the textile industry collapsed. And of course, we had Aberdale Mills here, we had Russell Mills here, and we've had some other companies, the things connected to Kimberly Clark and all, and so they're out of business, but we have a place that's growing, and we're looking at a situation now where we can really do some good with as far as getting people from other sections of the country to come see us and look at it. And along the way, one of the interesting things is that Aberdale Mills had commissioned an artist to do paintings of the employees, and when they were gearing down and closing down, Cheryl went to Stephen Felker and asked him to please donate those to this library where we could keep all of them together, and it would be open for everybody to see rather than to parcel them out. So we have the entire collection of international type things, and the Crockwell painting is just one of the drawing cards for true artists. So when people come from Italy and they come from any of the states around, they're amazed at the cultural and artistic things that we have. We not only have the marble, we have the painting, but we also have a beautiful downtown, a relatively new high school, the new stadium, and the other schools are built on the grid. And we got more things coming with the Earth Project. And before long, these people will be lucky if we'll let them in.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. And another thing that I like to add, they find out how friendly and Southern hospitality we give them here in Sylacauga, Alabama.
Yeah, they were really amazed at that. They like the relaxed ways it's going on. And if they get homesick, they go get on 280 and the wild, crazy traffic makes them feel like they're back in Italy.
There you go. There you go. So, thank you for coming in this morning. Don't forget, when you come down to the Marble Festival, the first people you're going to see is me and Dr. Ted. And we're going to tell you a little bit about the sculptors, the museum, the library, the lookout point. We just got all kind of things going on.
Well, that's wonderful. And one of the wonderful things is we're working this year with the museum, and they are doing the scavenger hunt for us, and they'll have the results of that, and we'll be making that recognition at the end of the festival in the auditorium, and we'll have Miss Alabama back for that.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dr. Ted, for coming in. We're going, the next 3 weeks, I've got sculptors coming in, and we're going to get their point of view on what it takes to sculpt. Sylacauga Marble Festival, April 1st through the 12th. Come on down and see us. Thank you, Dr. Ted.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week.